Okay, I'm live. They told me I'm live, and I always say this every week. I am alive. Thank you so much, and welcome, welcome, welcome. You know who I am. You probably know who I am from looking at my shows. I'm hoping, okay? So, this is the Girl Who Don't You Know talk show with Marilyn Green. And of course, I am Marilyn Green, okay? So, hey, one thing I want you guys to know that I'm happy that you're here. I welcome you, the live audience. I also welcome the people that's going to do hashtag replay. Okay. So, what I want you to do now is please share the live stream because we're going to be talking about lost and found. You were lost and then you were found. Okay. We're going to be talking about something that Charlie Brown always says, good grief. So we're going to be talking about good grief today as also. Okay. So I love to hear your comments or see your comments as you are live and you're writing them down. But the only way that I can see them at this point, because you know, as I always say, I'm a baby boomer, hear me roar. But at this point, if you would go to my Girl Who Don't You Know Facebook page, okay, and enjoy the video that way, then you'll be able to put your comments and I'll be able to see them. Just like you see Girl Who Don't You Know talk show with Marilyn Green, I can pop your stuff up there as well. So if you're not signed in via my if you're not signed in, sorry, via my page, please go there, okay? And then I'd like to hear from you. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, I want to hear your comments, your questions, your thoughts, anything like that. So take the time, share the feed, okay? Because we have some dynamic, bona fide, certified people that are going to be coming up and they're going to be talking about lived experiences. We're also going to be talking about tonight about how to stop being stuck. You know, I think I've done a show about being stuck, but this time I'm bringing somebody in that they have a book. They got chapters in a book. I also have a certified, bona fide grief recovery specialist who's going to be talking. So, hey, get ready. You know, I don't know what you do. You know, get your popcorn, get your Pepsi, get your Coke, get whatever you need because this is going to be a super great show. All right, so please share the screen, share the live, share it. Okay. All right, so enough of me, enough of the housekeeping. And I want to say also that my next show, I'm going to be looking for people who want to do a quick 1 to 30-second commercial. Just come in, you know, write me, girl, WDYK@gmail.com. And you can come on and you can do a 30-second commercial. Is there a small fee? It is. It's only $5. What can you do? I mean, you can get 5 things at Dollar Tree for $5 and get it marketed and everything like that. I would really like for you guys to do that. So write me, please, please write me and let me know. And let's work on something so you can come in and you can get that out concerning your organization, your cause, or whatever you need to try to market. Okay. All right. So enough of me talking. I am ready to bring my first guest up, and she is a person that I do know her, but I don't know her. Okay, so her name is, and I'm gonna bring her up, and she's just cheesing. I think her name, she kind of comes from the UK or some, and she talks that talk. I love that talk. Okay, so I am going to bring her up now. As soon as I do this, I'm gonna add her to the screen, and please continue to share, share, share. If you want to do a commercial, here I am, girl WDYK@gmail.com. So let's do this. I am going to Miss Noreen, and I'm going to show you who she is. She's a visionary leader. She's an author with many co-authors. How many co-authors you got on this book?
We've got there's 13.
How many?
13.
Okay.
No, sorry, 12. 12. One
12.
is the forward.
Okay. And so the name of her book is Stuck Is Not Your Story. And I believe it's a series, right? So when you say series, something else is coming up, right?
Yeah, that's right. So
okay. Okay.
Calling for more authors.
Okay. So let me tell you something else about her. And I got it here. She's a coach, international speaker. International. Okay. She's a trainer, she's an author, and she's a health educator. Now, I also know that she was on a billboard and we were practicing, and I'm sorry, Noreen, I forgot to put it back up. So I can't really show them at this time. At some point, I might show them. But nevertheless, she has been on the billboard on Broadway in Times Square, New York City. Okay.
Whoa.
Whoa, whoop, whoop. That is huge. You know, you're walking down the street and you look up and you say, I know that person. And guess what? It's you. So that's really wonderful. So thank you, Noreen, for coming on today. And we're getting ready to unpack some of the things that are in your book. Okay. And the name of her book is, and everybody needs to get one. Here it is right here. I got my little copy. Stuck. All right. Is not your story. Stuck is not your story. I love that. How did you come up with that title? Tell me about that.
Well, everything I do is based on how I'm led of the Lord, and that's what I was led to. Stuck is not your story.
Wow.
Because we get stuck in so many things. There's so many different things that we get stuck in. And so this is to undo even one by one, because it's usually not just one thing. And this is why it's a series. This is why it's a series as well, because it's going to be, I don't want to mention all the different titles that I have yet, but because they're going to be coming out one by one. But there's so many things that people are stuck in.
Well, you're right. Well, I tell you what, Nakia Bailey said, man, you're very talented. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then I'll just go for this already. She'll be coming up soon. Alicia. No. Jessica Broadway is saying, hi, Alicia Gutierrez. Okay. And then Alicia Gutierrez says, I love that. All right. Okay. Okay. So let's get back to you. Now, you said that your let me go to the book. Sorry, guys. Your topic is from brokenness to stuck to victorious living. How about we talk about the part that I was listening to, which was about how you got unstuck. It was a journey. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so it's a journey, and that's the key word. It's a journey because things don't happen overnight. Even becoming stuck didn't happen overnight. So now becoming unstuck is a process. It's a journey. And so it started with me. Let me start with one of the things I was stuck in, right? So
okay, yeah, go for one of them. Okay.
I was stuck in the in the bondage of emotional eating, right? And then it's a biggie. Emotional eating, and it progressed to food addiction. So I was stuck in this cycle of that for many years. And what made that worse was that I was suffering in silence because nobody knew what I was doing. I didn't even know what I was doing at first. I was eating when something was wrong, right? Whenever it's really out of unhappiness that something happens and I'm eating, and I can actually even tell you when it started. I was sitting in our kitchen talking to my former husband. I don't remember the conversation, but I know it was something I was not happy with. And it was at that point that I started to eat emotionally. And so when I was doing that, I did not know that there was even a name for it until, I don't know, maybe a few years later. And even knowing that there's a name for it, I was still stuck in that cycle. And so how I became unstuck from it was gaining knowledge. And I say gain the right knowledge. So I started to learn about it and read about it. And that's how I became unstuck, doing something different. Because if I didn't, I would have stayed stuck in that cycle and I wouldn't have been delivered from emotional eating.
Okay. And you also have a book and everything about emotional eating. And and emotional eating is a sneaky one too. You know, it's sneaky. Don't you think it's a little insidious and you don't even know? But when someone upsets you, all of a sudden you're getting up and you have been behaviorally conditioned to go to the refrigerator,
right?
Okay, or something, and you don't even know that you're doing. It's sneaky,
right? It's mindless, right?
Yeah, it's sneaky until your pants or your clothes don't fit no more.
Right?
Did you know? Hey, something is going on here, okay? You know,
and I don't know why.
I don't know why. I know I used to wear these clothes. What happened? Okay. But you have to get to that reality of saying, what happened? How did I get here? Like COVID-19, they talk about the COVID 20 pounds that you gained, and it's all about being out of control. You're really, really out of
That's
control.
what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
But even in that
And
out of control, it's a grieving. Like I was saying, you're grieving, and that grief can really put you into emotional eating as well. You just
right,
start eating.
right,
You know,
right.
you feel good about it. I know I do, because I was telling them a story about the fact that grief came to me in the form of being upset with people at the grocery store who had on masks, who I mean, we had to stand behind this glass,
The partition, right?
it just really bothered me, Noreen, to the point I got offended. We're going to talk about grief a little bit more and unpack, but I got offended. And somebody finally told me that basically I was stuck in offense, but I really was grieving that the
Wow.
world would never be the same anymore.
Wow.
So, and that's where that is. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your hardness of heart. How did that play a part in getting unstuck?
It played a part because I mean, I could feel it, like I felt it, and though with feeling it, that's affecting my body in a negative way, right? So I know that, and I just knew that I needed to do something about it. And how it became hard, it was the years of of the unhappiness, the years of the different things that happened, right? I was in bondage. I was in a relationship where I was persecuted, and all the different things that were happening, the rejection, the belittling, so many things. So everything that was happening to me over the years contributed to making my heart hard. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a point, it was I don't remember what point I started to feel it, but I said it to somebody. I was in church and I said it to somebody that my heart is hard. And
Mm-hmm.
she was like, how? Because of how I am, I'm always smiling, always laughing.
Yes.
How can your heart be hard? I said, I know, but I feel it. I can feel it. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's because of it's that's what it was. It's a buildup of everything and not being released because I didn't know to talk to anybody back then. We were raised to not speak anything. What happens is you keep it in the house. Right. But no, now to go to coaches, go to counseling to get the help to undo all of that so that to become unstuck from that. So what I did, I prayed, and I went and prayed, and we get led by the Lord. He led me to a ministry that what did they do? Inner healing. And
Ah,
that's where I went and got counseling and got my inner healing. My heart is fine. I don't feel hard. It does not feel hard anymore.
okay. And
But
how
it
you
was
know?
it was doing something different.
So how you know your heart ain't hard no more?
I
Tell us.
know it because I feel release. I felt a release.
Okay.
And it's not like that tightness is not there anymore.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we got people out there probably with a whole bunch of hard hearts. Okay. You need to really. You need. Denzel always is here. Yay! He's always here. He's talking about inner healing. Get that inner healing. And then also we have someone here. Sandra Jefford says, "I tend to emotionally eat. It is very sneaky until your pants don't won't fit no more. It's something. It's messy. Okay.
And
All right.
you have to undo it. It doesn't and that does not happen overnight, right?
It does not.
Because what happens is thoughts that come to you, right? Because I've been healed from it for quite a while now, from the emotional
Mhm.
eating, I hardly get the thoughts anymore. Because when I used to get it, when I started to get healing from it, the
Mhm.
thoughts would come and I was like, oh, I'm not falling for that, right? I'm not falling
Ah,
for that. So I'm not gonna go to eat. But I
yeah.
realize now, because I've been used to it for so long now, I rarely get that thought anymore where it comes to me, go get something to eat. This calling you, go get something.
Yeah, it
This
knows
just
your
happened,
name.
go get something.
It knows your name. Noreen, you know you want me. Noreen is calling your name. Okay. And you know what? Trying to get past the hearing those sounds, because it actually does call your
It
name.
does. Yeah,
Okay. And
yeah.
sometimes it gets a little indignant and get louder.
Right,
Okay. And
right.
you have to really stop it. It's horrible. It's just horrible. Okay. So let's get back to your book. And also, you said something else here. You said you learned to properly own your own life. Tell us about that. How did you learn to do that outside of stop listening to the voices that keep coming to you? You keep saying, no, 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 I'm not doing that today. Not today, not today. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Not ever.
Not ever.
I learned to properly own my life because growing up, one of the things was the field that I work in was chosen for me.
Okay.
I had no choice. I was a child and I couldn't choose what I wanted to do. And so I ended up in a relationship where it was like the same. There was things I wanted to do, couldn't do. And so it was like after I got out of that relationship now and I got back to myself and started to wait, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do. No. So I started to properly own my life and accept, right? Accept the things that I've done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Accept the responsibility
Mm-hmm.
for my life and not look at, like in the relationship, I used to blame, right? I used to blame, 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 but no, I take the responsibility for my part, right? And so I'm properly owning my life. And really for me, it's following the will of the Lord. So I'm operating in my purpose
Okay.
as well, right? So properly owning my life from all aspects in all ways where I wasn't doing that properly before.
Okay. All
And it's
right.
all based on getting the right knowledge.
Getting the right knowledge. Okay. The part in her chapter, her book is from brokenness and stuck to victorious living. That's her chapter. She's the person who brought everybody together to have this series going on. I mean, she's a powerhouse. I mean, I couldn't put all the words on her. They only give me so many words to put on here for her. But nevertheless, you can always reach out to her. That's her website right there. So, reach out to her, and she is a wealth of knowledge. She knows a lot of things. I know she does. Okay, she knows a lot of things. She's just the same way she is right now. Since I met you, I think in 2016,
Yeah.
and I kept kidding her about that accent because I'm like, how are you from the UK and you talking like this? What is this? But her accent, accent got me every time, okay? And we would just laugh. And
Yeah.
her smile, you see her smile, she's just like that for real. She's just like that. Okay, so one last thing I want to show you here. You said I'm back to myself. You said that I think in 2003 or something like that. You talk about it in your book, and then pretty soon you said I am back to myself and even better. Talk about that.
Yeah, because of like so many of us in relationships, we lose ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We lose ourselves, and you don't even realize it. I didn't realize it until being out of it. Like, wow, I really lost myself. And so so after that relationship ended, I back to myself. I was back to myself. And so over the years, with gaining more knowledge, learning more and more, now I'm even better than
Yeah.
just back to myself. I'm
Wow.
always evolving. I'm always because I can't settle. I'm one of them. I can't settle because there's so much more.
Yeah.
So I'm always evolving, always learning more, always gaining more knowledge. Because when we don't have the right knowledge, what does the word say? We perish.
We perish.
We perish. So
Perish.
we have to gain the right knowledge. There's so much knowledge out there, but we have to make sure that we're gaining the right knowledge. And here I am.
Yes, yes, yes. So, hey, we applaud you for your journey and what you've done and how you did not stay stuck. You recognize that you were stuck and you say, hey, I got to get out of this. This is just not what God wants me to do. I can strongly say that for you. That's not where that's not the end of my story. I have so much more to give, which you showed when you did this book. Okay, this is not your first book, but you not only understood that you had some healing, you knew it was other people, and a couple of people I'm going to bring up who needed healing as well, and they tell some tremendous, I mean, transparent stories in here, about what they did, how they did it. They were very super transparent in this, so they got unstuck. But thank you so much, Noreen. Don't go anywhere. I'm gonna put you back in my green room. And no, I think I'm just gonna let you stay up there, and I'm gonna bring up my next person. Miss Tayze, are you ready? She looked like she ready, so I'm going to bring her up right now. Okay.
Okay.
All right then, Miss Tayze, I see you.
Hey.
And Miss Tayze Early is part of that Stuck Is Not Your Story series, and I read a lot about her in this right here, and she was so transparent. I mean, transparent to a point. I'm like, whoa, really? So let me tell you about who she is. She's the founder of Transforming Yourself Every Day. Not sometimes, but every day. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
that's her address right there in case you want to get in contact with her. So her stuff was pretty phenomenal too. And her book part was My Pain, His Purpose. Wow. Tell us a little bit about that right now, Miss Tayze.
Well, life from
Mhm.
birth, from when toddler, when things are spoken over your life,
Yeah.
um, they tend to get into your bones all the way into the marrow. And as a child, when you don't have a say, uh, and then later on keep transitioning, these things just stay with you,
Yeah.
Right.
and we just keep moving, and we don't take care of ourselves. We don't exhibit self-care, and that was what was happening with me. And it took a health scare to realize that, whoa, um, I wasn't the place where I should have been, and all this stuff had been deep down inside of me, and God was giving me an opportunity. He wanted me to be healed. So it was just not for me, but for other people also.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so you also had something here, and I'm going to show. You said you had to learn how to shut out the noise around you, and you really I didn't put everything in here, but you also talked about how you had to listen to the word of God, the Lord. I think you came out of the book of Jeremiah. Don't quote me, but yes, you did. Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. So you needed to shut down the noise around you so you could hear God. Tell us about that. What were the noises? What was going on?
Mainly myself, because how I felt about me.
Mhm.
I didn't feel beautiful. I didn't feel love. I was ashamed of my past. Um, I felt like I was at a place where I didn't think I was gonna be able to be where I'm at now, because I felt, because of my age, that I was stuck, because of the past failures, and people judge you based
Mhm.
on your past, and then your own worst critic.
Yeah.
So that's why I say I had to learn how, and in that process, he used my friend to tell me to get still and be quiet. So I began to get still and quiet and immerse myself in the Word of God, immerse myself in positive motivational things, and began to journal. And that way, I can hear from Him and just tune everything out so I can hear and grow and be better, because I wanted to be free.
That's right. Now let me get on something that I've already talked about when you guys were behind the scene. I talked about um how would I say the lack of hair on your head,
Mm-hmm.
and how you talk about it in the book about how that made you feel and how you finally came to tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I suffer from alopecia. It's a form of baldness. Ever since I was 16, and based on my research, I believe it came from a lot of the trauma that I experienced as a young child and then as a teenager and through life, along with medication for being severely asthmatic.
Uh-huh.
And just got tired of hiding, because I got bullied. When you're in high school, that's the worst time. 11th and 12th grade, had to wear wigs, and just trying to find somebody to do my hair all the time. And writing this chapter of the book gave me the freedom to do it. The last straw was I sat in this beautician from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock. I was like, I'm done. Trying
Whoa.
for her to create a hairline to and to sew the hair in. So I made it through that, and that was it for me. That was my breaking point, and I got my healing through writing this chapter. And my best friend who lives in Oregon, she's never had short hair. She did it in solidarity with me. Her hair is blonde to her back, and we did it on the same day. And I felt a release. I felt beautiful, even though people were saying, but you dress so good and your hair be all fly, you be on point all the time. But I was still suffering in silence. And some mornings I would wake up and I have like 10 wigs just struggling, trying to, because when your hair not together, you don't feel good.
You know it. It's our glory. It's
Yeah,
our
that's my
glory.
glory. And here I was trying to put on these wigs some days and I was struggling. But once I shaved my head and really saw me, I saw beautiful for the first time, and I love it. And I said, I am so grateful for this opportunity that I had because I didn't have the courage to do it before, and I love it. And I ain't put another wig on never. I've been giving them away.
You know what? I can feel how that was such a liberating thing for you. You started, I can feel it coming through the the virtualness of this. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that you are healed, and that your pain was his purpose, because he was trying to get you somewhere and you was trying to stay somewhere. You was trying to stay stuck. You was trying to stay stuck. Keep on getting wigs and all that, and I'm just gonna say, and I'm not trying to date you. That's when wigs weren't popular, okay? They were not really outside of Tina Turner with her stuff, Nevertheless, wigs, but now you be like in there like that, like a hair weave, okay? Because people would say it's not a problem, but I'm happy, but it looks good on you. So don't even think about it anymore.
Oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Look,
it's a wrap.
Everybody, I be meeting all kinds of people now. Hey, I even saw a lady going to work the other day, and she was just waving. I was like, well, why is this lady waving at me? Because she was bald just like me. I said, bald and beautiful. Hey.
Okay, go on and be bald and beautiful, girl. We ain't mad. We ain't mad. I'm happy about that. When I read that in this book, I was like, ooh. Now that's something to talk about. So, okay, well, let's see here. We got some more stuff for you. You said at times I believed that my purpose was lost and unreachable, but it was around me all the time. I just couldn't see it. The eyes and window of my soul were so clouded. Unpack that one. That's heavy right there. Tell us about it.
Yeah, because I've been doing this life coaching all my life, even through my own pain. And it was greatness in me, and other people always saw the greatness, but I didn't see it myself. And it took, like I said, me meeting Noreen 3 years ago, and then writing this chapter of this book and some other things that I've been doing on my own, that birth transforming yourself every day, got me to see that, hey, I am worthy. That's why the Jeremiah 29:11 stands out for me, because he has a plan. And in this process, he was explaining to me, he's still the same God, just like he gave Sarah and Abraham the baby at such a late date. He could just open you up at any time. And even my son was like, well, Mom, why did you come to your knowing now? Because it was God's time.
Yes.
Some scales off of my eyes so I can see myself as he sees me and love myself as he sees me.
Amen.
Right. So, the name of this show is Lost and Found, so I think you was lost and you became found, okay?
Absolutely.
Your eyes and everything was open,
Yes.
you became unstuck, you fit for this show today, okay? I just want you to know that, okay? because you definitely got unstuck, okay? You
Yes,
got
I did.
unstuck. Now, I do have a comment here, and I'm going to have to show it because I'm going to tell you something. I know for a fact Denise Y. Taylor Johnson, my classmate, she does not have any hair either, and she don't care. And guess what? It looks good on her as well. Thank you, Denise, for that comment.
Amen.
So, I mean, it's all good. Like you said, it's hey, okay, my pain and his purpose. Okay, the chapter in the book. You guys need to get the book because it's just not her. it's about what 12 or 13 other ladies in here. I
Mhm.
think it's all ladies. It's
Yeah.
a whole bunch of different ladies in here that you guys need to read this book because it is very how would I say it's very liberating. The
Mhm.
part that I read was really good, So no, don't hesitate. Go out and get this book. I think is it on Amazon.com or
It's
where
on
is
Amazon, but you can go to any author and get it, right? So, like for me, I have it on my website,
okay.
noreennhenry.com, but any author can get it. You can get it. Just search their name and you can and find your favorite author and get the book from them.
Okay, find your favorite author. I'm gonna show you a little picture. Here's a bunch of them too. There's a bunch of them in here. So really good stories. They draw you in. My pain, his purpose really draw me in. I'm like, what? What? Okay. It was like, what the what? But nevertheless and stuff. Thank you so much, Tayze,
You're welcome. Thank
for
you.
being here. And don't leave because we got another person,
Yes. Okay.
another sister from another mother. She's coming up. Okay.
All right.
She's with you. There she is right there. Okay. And that is Dr. Okay. And I think I got your name right. Hold on one second. Let me get this out of here. Let me get this out of here. You guys know I haven't said it yet, but I'm gonna say it now. I'm a baby boomer. Hear me, hear me roar. Okay. So let me hide that. And then I'm going to go to you, Miss Doctor. Miss Doctor. There she is. Okay. All right. So you guys see who she is. And she is Dr. JoWanda Rollins Fells, aka the Real Talk. Dr. Real Talk. I'm sorry.
Yes,
Welcome to Girl Who Don't You Know show. Okay. Hi,
I love it.
don't
Thank
you
you.
know? Okay. How is it going?
It is going great. And I can tell you who I do know, and that is the marvelous Tayze and the fabulous Noreen Henry. And so I'm just loving this conversation backstage. I'm snapping and
I
all of
saw you.
this.
They couldn't see you, but I saw you. Okay. But no, I did. But I'm so glad that you could be on here, and your chapter says this show, the real talk that saves. Okay. And it's in stuck, it's not your story. And so you break it down in so many different ways. And I pulled out some power words because I love words. Okay. And you
Mhm.
said reframe, empower, activate, and liberate. Okay. Now, let me ask you first and foremost, what made you want to be a part of this? I think it's an anthology somewhat. Stuck is not your story. What made you want to be a part of this? It was something about, and it's almost like what's that? What's those series? All my children. One of them things. When I read yours right there made me think of something like that because it was something about a fiance. Tell us about it, okay?
Yeah, so it resonated with me, first of all, because I met Noreen and she was talking about gaining the right knowledge. To know Noreen is to know that statement. And when I looked at my life, you know how we say when I look back over my life, I
Right.
really thought, you know what? Stuck is not my story. And I wasn't always able to really say that from the place where I meant it. I would say it from the fake it till you make it place.
Mm-hmm.
But I am at a place in my life today where I can declare, and I claimed that when I penned a very personal part of my life that most people do not know. I am an elected official, and so much of my life is public that I'm very private about certain things. But I realize that so many times people come into your life on this chapter and they have no idea what happened prior that kind of made you who you were. And for me, my lost and found was that I experienced something that I did not expect. I was not raised and prepared for.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing in my life previously that I could kind of anchor it in, and it completely rocked my world. When I say I was broken, I was beyond the place of like put it back together again with some crazy glue. I was like a fine powder where I was like,
Oh wow.
okay, God, now what? I mean, we're beyond the potter's wheel. Like, there is no put this back together. And that's how I felt. But on the outside, my stuck place was that I was in autopilot.
Yeah.
I was in autopilot. You made a comment to Tayze earlier about how sometimes we want to stay in the stuck place.
Yeah.
And that was me. It was safe. I had built a home in Stuckville. It had a picket fence in Stuckville. You know, and I was dressed in a way that said, I'm comfortable and don't dare ask me if I'm not. Don't I look okay?
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah, but it was stuck and I was lost.
Mm-hmm.
I lost my joy. I lost my peace. And most importantly, I lost my faith in myself and my belief in God. How do we make it out of this? Like, I know what the word says, but in my found place, I had to, as Lucy Shaw said, reconcile my God design and truly understand that God is who he says he is. And while I believe he can do these things for everybody else, it's high time I believe that he can do those things for me. And so when Noreen gave us the opportunity and the invitation, I don't praise my stuck place. I'm transparent enough that it gives validity and credibility to it. But then I spent the rest of my chapter talking about that real talk.
That's right.
You know, for real. How do you get out of it?
Yeah. Yep, you did. And the part about the fiance, and what you're saying is that you didn't know nothing about this kind of stuff. I ain't never lived in a world like this. What you do when somebody don't, come on. I mean, that was a real blow. So guess what, guys? You got to get the book to find out about it. I know you don't.
That's
I know what happened. I know what happened. You don't. Okay, so the good thing about it is that I think you said reframe your life, empower. You had some words here, and I'm a big wordsmith person. And you had those words, and when I read, I'm like, ooh, okay, these are some good words here. You said reframe your reality, empower your vision, activate your faith, liberate your legacy. Now, I gave you guys some sneak previews, but it's a whole bunch of other stuff that goes along with this. So don't think you got it all, okay? You better go and get this book, okay? So you can stop trying to act like you stuck and you like it, okay? Because a lot of times you be stuck and you be thinking, like she said, you okay. You're not. You're not okay. And as I thought about this show, I know this is a perfect time during the holiday season that you want to try to trigger yourself back into it. And you want to try to go into that pity party to say, it's okay for me to be there because I lost this or this, that, and it's not okay. It's not okay for you to stay stuck. I say this, you can be stuck for a minute, but you need to snap out of it.
Yeah.
I don't say it meanly. I just say snap out of it. Your snap out don't look like my snap out. It don't look like none of these ladies here. It does not look the same. But you got to recognize that you need to snap out of it and you got to seek help. You got to get that inner healing. If you need to go to God, you need to go to a coach, wherever you need to go. But just know that you need to go. All right. My mother used to tell me, hey, just go on in there and roll across the bed until you get it out, child. Just keep rolling across that bed. Just roll back and forth on the bed until you get it out. Okay. That was all she could give me, not knowing that I was just messed up. Okay. And I needed help. Yeah. But whatever you need, that's where you need to go for, and these ladies have put together and took the time to come on my show. I really do appreciate to let you know that people are stuck, but that ain't their story. Okay. Right. That ain't the way this ends at all. I'll take your words. Dr. Real Talk. I think that's it. Okay. I think that's it. Reframe, empower, activate, and liberate yourself. Okay. I think Noreen talks about the hardness of heart. Really look inside yourself. Okay. Don't let the stuff make you stay right there with a hard heart. Okay. And Miss Tayze really went there and stuff. She said, look, I'm gonna be bald and I don't care. Okay, this is it. Okay, I'm transparent. I'm not going to even try to hide it no more. I'm going to be free, and everybody can be free. Hey, that's how I feel about it. Anything else, ladies? You guys want to say right now at this point, or you go ahead, Dr. Real Talk? You look like you like to talk anyway. Go for it.
Well, I do have a talk show, so I've
I
turned that
know.
into
I know.
reframing my reality, right?
Yeah.
I think it's important because if not, what we do is we perpetuate legacy trauma. And
Mhm.
so I talk about how I wanted to give my daughter the best of me and not the brokenness of me.
Wow,
And
that's powerful.
so,
That's powerful right there. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I like that about the legacy because you can have generational trauma, okay, that continues and continues and continues because guess what? You didn't recognize, if you recognize you were stuck, you didn't recognize that you needed help, okay? It's
That's
so
right.
generational that it becomes normal, even though it's abnormal.
Right.
Okay, is
Right.
that right? Is that right? Okay,
Yep.
it's very normal to you because that's just the way we do it in our house. Okay, and everybody is dysfunctional with a big D.
Yeah.
Okay, they're dysfunctional.
Yep.
And you have to recognize that. But so I do really love you guys for this book, and I'm going to look at the other chapters too. But the two chapters that I read, three that I read, they were profound. Okay. And you guys need to get this book, go to Amazon.com or either one of these ladies. Like she said, you can go to them, your favorite author or whomever. Right there, we got Miss Dr. Real Talk. I like that. DrRealTalk.com, www.drrealtalk.com, 100. Okay. So, ladies, thank you so much. I don't want you guys to leave, but I'm going to bring up a certified, bona fide person I like, grief recovery specialist. Okay. And I see her smiling. She's in my green room. Okay. I see her smiling. I see her smiling. So I'm going to take you guys down and then I'm going to bring her up, but don't go anywhere because you might have some last words you might want to say. Okay. So I'm going to take you down and take you down and take you down. It's just me. Hey, everybody out there. Hey, please put your comments in there. If you got something to say, you might want to give a whoop whoop or, yeah, I believe that. That's great. Put it in there. Okay. So up next, we have Miss Jessica Broadway. All right. Hi, Jess. How are you? Can
I'm well. How are you?
I am good. Are you enjoying the show so far?
I have a pen and I've been writing notes. So
Okay.
I have loved hearing the stories and what I see coming together is that emotional truth that we all know what it feels like when we're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just beautiful to hear everyone's stories. I love it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So that's Jessica Broadway talking. I love her last name. Okay. I love Broadway for some reason. But here she is. She's the mommy boss time three. Tell us why it's time three. Okay. I think I know, but go for it. Tell us.
Because, well, it's times three because I have three amazing boys that made me a mommy, and they are why I do what I do. Dr. Real Talk, did I say that right?
Yeah.
She mentioned that legacy and breaking those chains, and that's what it's all about. So creating legacy, and I wanted to build a life where I could be a mom and a boss and have the freedom to do that. So
Uh-huh.
I just uh, created that network, and that's what we're rolling with.
All right then. Okay. So Jess, you have a book as well, and it is called A Journey of Raising Brave Hearts. Tell us about that.
Well, first, can I say that you are one amazing woman, and I am just incredibly blessed to get to know you, and I'm grateful for the space that you hold for others to tell their stories. You have an amazing story, and I'm very thankful for you. So thank you for the time that you've given to this journey, for being a baby boomer and roaring loudly for all of us to hear.
Yes.
You are blazing a trail full of courage.
Thank you so much, Jess. Thank you so much. I'll take every bit of that, and I think I know that person is me. Okay. So, but thank you so much for that. So tell us about this Raising Brave Hearts. I know you said this
Okay.
is about rising out of the ashes of what holds you back. I love that. Okay, go for it. Tell us about it.
So I went through a season of my life where I was, for all practical purposes, doing all the things, loving life. You would not have known, like many of the stories you heard tonight, that anything was wrong. And then life changed for me in the most unpredictable way, and I found myself very stuck. So stuck that I didn't want to keep doing the things I'd been doing. I didn't want to keep having the same conversations. I didn't feel connected because I realized that I'd been faking it till I made it for quite some time. And I sat down, and through a series of events, I actually lost my voice for 6 months. And I was sitting there with all the words to say and no way to say them. And in the stillness of that moment, I heard it's time to tell the story. And of course, I didn't know what story I'm supposed to tell, but I'm like,
It's okay.
okay, what
All right.
now?
I'll do it. I'll do it. Okay. Right.
And so I got to the point where I thought, let me just take some notes about what I notice in the world and what I wonder about how to fix it. What is broken? What is this journey that I'm on? Why do I feel stuck? And I went to a retreat and I got to learn about grief and the difference between what we think we know as grief and what real grief really is, and some of the myths that surrounded it. And I just became empowered to start shifting my life into changing those and rewriting those stories of the past that had held me back. And so I started collecting this wisdom for my children. And the book was originally going to be called Raising Brave Hearts, because that's truly what I want to do. I want to raise a generation of brave, courageous spirits. And then every story I told, I was like having to tell the backstory of why it was important to me. And then I realized that this is more about my journey to how I raised my own brave heart, and how together, collectively, we can raise the brave in each other. And how do I raise Marilyn's brave heart? How do I speak to her? How do I call out her truths?
Wow.
How do
Wow.
I be God's voice that whispers truth back to her when she's forgotten the way?
Oh,
And
man, I'm
so,
getting, I'm getting little chills on that one. Okay, yeah, you going there somewhere, girl? I'm like, woo. Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
so this is my story, a journey to raising brave hearts, and it's a call to action of community, of how we can collectively raise communities full of brave hearts. And I do talk about grief. I didn't want to be known as the grief girl, right? Because there's so much more to just the pain that holds us back. That's just a small portion of it. Having the courage to create the life you wish existed is the rest of the story. And in order to do that, you have to know how to sufficiently navigate grief, which is why I decided to get to become certified in that specialty, because it is important. And I didn't know, I mean, I had a degree in psychology, family, and biblical studies, and I went through one of the darkest times of my life, and none of my tools were working.
Mm.
And I had to ask myself, do you really know what you think you know? My papa used to say, it ain't what you think you know, it's what you think you know that ain't so. That'll get you in trouble.
Oh, wow. I think you better say that again. Okay.
It's not what you think you know, it's what you think you know that ain't so.
Wow.
So it's about all the things we've just assumed we know about life that aren't true. They're myths, they're um, stories of our past. They're the fears that cultivate inside of us, that change our perception, that block us from our brave. Those are the things that trip us up. And so through my process of learning and seeing grief inside and out, I came to a real full understanding of how to help people navigate through that. And that is just one piece of, it's a tool in the tool bag, right? I work as a consultant to help people identify the loss that is holding them back, to take back that veil, and to expand their knowledge of all the areas that could be holding them back. And then we work together to create the life they wish existed, with creation strategy and implementing the method that I created called the CBI method: create, build, and inspire, and the processes that go together. But I'm here to speak to how to deal with grief, and I
Tell us
appreciate
about it.
you helping change the narrative
Yes.
about what grief is.
Yeah. Tell us about it. You said, what is the difference between grief and loss? And also, Christy BJ says, I agree. Amen. And then my friend here, I like this statement. Definitely seconded about you, Marilyn Green. Hey, I'll take that, Deb. Okay. So, but anyway, tell us the difference between grief and loss. Okay. You got down. How many losses are there? I mean, what is it? Okay. And then somebody says, do you know Austin English? That says, go girl. Okay.
That's my brother.
Okay. Hey, go girl. All right. But go ahead, tell us, what's the difference between grief and loss? And tell me this also. I notice the time of year is when people start feeling all, like I talk about in a pity party. Okay. Tell us the difference between grief and loss. Tell us something to help them to get out of it, and to move forward, or to recognize that they need to move forward. Tell us something. Help us out here. As they say.
All right. Well, I'm a super real, like, creative, and I look for the deeper meaning in life, but I also know there's a lot of us that like, statistics and like logic. So I'm going to share some FYI tips that you
Okay.
may not realize about grief.
Okay.
So our private logic is basically the way we see the world and how we decide we're going to deal with the world based on how we see others behaving in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are developing that in the first 1 to 3 years of life, you develop 75% of your private logic. So 75% of the way you see the world and the decisions you make and the way you've observed other people's behaviors, those become the programs you run and the perception that you have on the world.
Mm-hmm.
Over the next 10 to 12 years, you're going to get another 20%. So that means we have some 15-year-olds that are walking around with 95% of their private logic, the way they see the world, their mind is made up, and they ain't got a clue. They have watched and emulated and mirrored behavior that might be patterns of dysfunction. It may be poor coping strategies. And what we know about loss is that it is a change in a pattern of behavior, a change in circumstances. I'm so sorry. I am getting interrupted here. You have to go into the other room, sweetheart. No. I am so sorry.
He wants to be on the show too. Okay, tell him I'll call him. I'll call him. Okay.
Well, and he's dressed up like Santa, so.
Oh, hey. Ho, ho, ho. All right, go for it.
Oh, where was I? So, loss is a change in a pattern of behavior or change in your circumstances. Grief is the emotional response to that loss. So, if you can imagine a child that has watched other people deal with loss, they've watched other people emotionally respond to loss, and then they've made up their mind about how they're going to deal with it. And this may or may not be good or bad, but just think about what you watched growing up in your life and the patterns of behavior that you continued on. So when we look at loss, we have to understand the depth and the brevity of it. We have to understand how many types of loss that there are. And we've evaluated that there's about 43 different types of loss a person can experience in their given life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It is huge when you start looking at loss being a loss of expectation, a loss of relationship, a loss in your hope, a loss of faith, a loss, I mean, like the list goes on and on. And then there's this categorical blanket that is the disenfranchised loss, the stuff we don't even know is lost, but it is for sure impacting our daily lives. Like we can't pinpoint it, but we know it's there. And so the grieving process is the emotional response to whatever loss you've experienced. So when you look at a child and they have a loss of expectation and they have a meltdown, it's not behavioral, it is a response to loss. And if you know how to identify, you can stop, literally stop taking it so personally, different people's responses. You can see that they are responding to loss, that it isn't personal, and then you can maybe stand there in the empathy zone and say, hey, look, it looks like you've experienced some loss. How can I support you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like that. I like that.
So, yeah, so it changes the way we see grief because a lot of us are kind of hooked on the idea that grief comes in stages and that it happens on the big D's, death, divorce, and dying, right? And disease.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really much more than that. And cumulatively over time, think of all the losses that you've experienced throughout your life. And then there's that big cataclysmic event where you run into an emotional wall and you do not have the energy anymore to keep juggling all the loss. And oftentimes you find yourself, in fact, grieving a loss that was 20 years ago. It's not even related to what you're dealing with, but it was your final moment to sit there and embrace all of it and to feel all of it. And if you don't have a strategy for dealing with that, it can be very, very overwhelming and it can create very stuck feelings for people. So what we know is, I'm going to give you another acronym. When people don't deal with their loss and they don't deal with their grief, they will STERB, STERB. It stands for short-term energy relieving behaviors, which
Mm.
might be eating, which might be drinking, which might be, all the things. It's whatever you do to deal with the way you feel when you don't have a strategy to do it. It short term relieves energy so you feel a little bit better, but really when you take that release away, you're left there holding the bag and additional guilt and shame because you weren't actually able to deal with the issue. You just put a band-aid on it.
Right. So as we go into the holidays now, tell the audience, what would you say they need to do outside of everything they heard already?
Yeah.
If someone would ask you, give me two or three things that I need to do, because I know I've suffered a loss. I'm into a stage of grief, and most of the time people miss loved ones about this
Mm-hmm.
time of year,
Mm-hmm.
and they start, especially it starts around Thanksgiving is hard. Okay, that's a big one. And Christmas is hard, but Thanksgiving, I think, to me, would be the hardest, and so what would you tell them, if someone would say, hey, I'm just suffering. I don't know what to do.
Well, first, I would say honor the journey and trust the process. And that is something I talk about in my book, is that in order for us to honor the journey of what was, we have to be able to tell the truth. And I'm not talking about the details. Some people have a lot of difficulty with the details of what has happened, why they are sad, or why they have grief. But I'm talking about learning how to tell the emotional truth, to say, I feel sad and take responsibility for the feelings that you have. Feelings are neither good or bad, they're just the way you feel about a situation. It's what you do with the way you feel that changes the story, right? And
Yeah.
so I want people to feel empowered to speak their emotional truths. That I say this often is the devil's in the details, and that's what will divide us all the time. And to give you an example of that, there would be like say that my dad has passed and your dad has not passed. Okay. And I start telling you all the details of how my dad died, and you cannot relate because yours is still living. right? So
Mhm.
you might be tempted to search your memory for maybe another time when someone died, and you might want to share that story with me. But then I don't really feel like you heard me because you just told me another story, right?
Oh,
But
wow.
if I take out the details